episode, I have with me today Paul. We're going to be chatting about a recent convention that we attended called CreepIE Aftermath, and that just happened recently, September 20th through the 22nd of this year, 2024, and that was at the Ontario Convention Center. We've previously attended CreepIE Con in February, and this is their second show that they have.
What's the difference between CreepIE Con and CreepIE Aftermath? Is it Con Aftermath or just Aftermath?
Just Aftermath, which it makes it really confusing too, because some of their socials, like, they're still using just CreepIE Con, but CreepIE Con was their original show. It's kind of their flagship show, and then I'm not sure what year. I was trying to look it up, but eventually they added a second show to have for the year, and so their second one is called Aftermath, and they just call it CreepIE Aftermath. And I didn't mention this up at the top, but IE stands for Inland Empire, and Inland Empire is a geographic location in Southern California. So for us, that's where we grew up. It's where we live. So it's really cool because it's a convention that we don't have to drive as far to attend. So why don't we talk about some of the experiences that we went through? Okay, so in terms of experiences, there was only one maze to go through, and that was put on by Fear Farm. And Fear Farm is, I believe, located in Corona. And what do you recall about that maze that we went through?
It was a smaller maze. It wasn't that big, but the characters were all clowns that had like military fatigues, and a lot of them were in the CreepIE Con that we had gone to in earlier this year. And it's kind of funny because we always end up hanging out with them outside where they go to smoke. They're always hanging out when we go out there.
Yeah, I know. I always want to like ask them for their picture, but then I'm like, I feel like they're on their break. But yeah, they're. I think the guy. I'm gonna have to find him and put him on social media. But I know during February's show, he was wearing the stilts, and it's the same guy, especially that we run into, and it's pretty funny to hear their banter, even when they're out and hanging out. They're still totally entertaining guys and girls.
Yeah, they were still kind of in character. I think a lady had came out and wanted to take pictures, and they were making balloon animals for her. One of them, I think, was their guns.
Balloon
their fake
guns.
guns
Yeah.
were made from balloons.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And one of them popped, and it was kind of loud. So
yeah, I think he probably popped it on purpose to get a little jump scare out of her. Yeah, when we went through that maze, I don't like jump scares. So as somebody who's a fan of the horror genre, yes, I don't like jump scares in person per se. I can handle them in movies for the most part, but in person, oh, I have to like really be ready to go through those. And at the like, I end up laughing through most of them. And when I got through the very end, like this guy got me really good, and he startled me bad. And I was laughing, and the guy he like totally laughed and made everybody in our group laugh. And even the guy who was walking through with us was like, "Hey, I had more fun watching you laugh through those jump scares than actually getting scared myself." So I thought that was funny. So check them out. Their haunt is going on right now. I think it's already started, and like I said, they're in the city of Corona. If you're in California, you can check them out. Another thing was Art Sideshow. We've seen them before. They were at CreepIE Con, and they were also at Midsummer Scream, which we went to this year.
and they were like just a bunch of miscellaneous clowns, right?
Yeah, they had like Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses. They had different all the like different iterations of Joker. Had Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Art the Clown,
Pennywise.
yeah, the different Both of the Pennywise is the original and the newer one. So
Yeah, we got good pictures. Check out our blog with the pictures that Elisa's gonna write.
it'll come out soon. It might even be out before this episode drops. But we also have some of those on our social media. We have some of those pictures. A new thing that we saw that I haven't seen before at any of the cons was LM Treasures, and they had a lot of different like prop statues that they brought from their showroom, and they're located in Fontana. They had the Gremlins. They had my favorite Gremlin. They had the Flashing Gremlin. If you've ever seen that movie, I love that character. It cracks
Yeah,
me
they
up.
had the flashing gremlin and the one in the bikini,
Yeah,
right?
Greta. She's from Greta. From part 2 of Gremlins.
They got names.
Yeah, some of them do. There's Spike. There's His other
I
names
know
for him.
Gizmo.
Gizmo, of course, yeah. So some of them, they don't. I don't think they ever like officially say some of their names, but some of them are in the credits. I think they do say Spike's name though.
Yeah, but they so this place, this LM Treasures, they allow you to rent these statues for parties and everything. I think they had a really cool display about the Jurassic Park dinosaurs, and they were like a bunch of velociraptors, and they were I wouldn't know if they were lifelike size, but they were pretty big size. So there was some kids that were hanging out, and pretty cool. I mean, I know I like dinosaurs. My kid likes dinosaurs,
Yes,
so
our son loves dinosaurs. But yeah, they also I don't know if I mentioned Art Sideshow. They have a museum you could check out on Montclair and LM Treasures. You can go to their showroom and check it out in Fontana, and they said both are kid friendly, so that's really awesome. And of course, you can rent from LM Treasures. They even had some of the stuff for sale. I saw a guy. I think he was. I don't know if he was buying a Slimer or he was buying some sort of prop. So
the Slimer was really cool.
yeah,
It was like a good size Slimer.
yeah, and they had some different ones where they weren't necessarily like licensed characters, but they were like within the like Halloween or genre things that you could rent from them. So that was cool. Hadn't seen them before. They also had the arcade. I don't remember what games were in there. Do you recall any of those?
They had older games, but they were more just regular arcade games that you would see.
Okay.
They had some Nintendo Switch games and some older like stand-up games.
Okay. They had Mario Kart. I do remember that because our kid plays. Our little one likes Mario Kart, even though he can't really play. He tries to play Mario Kart. Outside, they had wrestling going on. I guess this is a regular thing at some conventions. I haven't been to a convention where they have these, but they had the Mass Republic wrestling, and they had more like luchador style masks on. I didn't see any of them that were unmasked. Maybe we just didn't catch any of those matches, but I thought that was different.
Yeah, it was cool to see them. I think I'm not into wrestling nowadays, but as a kid, I was a big wrestling fan, so it was cool seeing them do it outside and live and in person.
Yeah, it makes you really appreciate the pain that they go through. A new addition this year, which they have never had at any of the Creep IE events, is they actually had panels. Unfortunately, we didn't get to check out any of their panels, but their big thing was they had an ET reunion. The Terrifier 3 cast was there, so we didn't get to see the ET one because we did have a photo op, which we'll talk about later. So we missed that. Um, there was Nick Castle and Tom Atkins, which Nick Castle's like the original, the shape, the original Michael Myers. That would have been a cool one. Dee Wallace, she's from Cujo and she's also from ET. And then I think there was a live podcast recording as well. But we weren't able to check any of those out. They just didn't fit into our schedule or they weren't going on the day we were there. We went on Saturday. And then another cool thing that was there was the 501st, their Southern California garrison from the Inland Empire. And can you tell them about the 501st?
Yeah, so these guys are Star Wars cosplayers. They're one of the 501st is I think the largest group of cosplayers, and they're pretty famous. They've been used in some of the Star Wars movies as some of the actors because of their movie accurate costumes. And we got to talk to some of them and check out their catalog of costumes. They had a big book where they showed like all the costumes that are available that you can make for yourself, and these are what are required for you to join the 501st. But there's stormtroopers, there's Jedi, there's the regular guys working in the uh, Death Star. So it's a large uh, cadre of costumes that are available. So it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Shout out to Edberto Galvez. He let me sit with. He even invited me to sit behind the table and chat with him and hang out for a little bit. So that was really cool. That he made it more personable. He didn't just chat with me for a bit. He was like, yeah, come here, sit down, and kind of talked me through and showed me some of the stuff. So it was a really cool experience because we are Star Wars fans, even though we're into the horror genre. We do like other nerdy stuff as well.
Okay, so now we went to Midsummer Scream, and now this Creep Icon Aftermath. What was the biggest difference you would say in terms of like the vendors? Because this is kind of the main focus.
Yeah, I really noticed with the vendors that they were less commercialized. Um, than like bigger ones because I've been to Monster Palooza as well. There's a lot more independent artists that were here.
Let's commercialize like what?
Like you didn't have like Paramount Studios selling stuff, and it's not to say that they don't have good stuff, but it was more things that you would use more personally. Whereas like at Midsummer, also in addition to them there being more commercial products to buy, Midsummer had a lot of things to like make your own haunt and in terms of FX and masks. I mean, there was some of that here, but it was a much smaller amount of that. It was more things that are like handmade and personal artistry. So it's really cool to see that. That was something that I appreciate about this con.
Yeah, what was I know you had bought a couple of things. What was kind of your some of your favorite vendors there?
So we forgot, and we should have known this because we've learned this the hard way. You need to have a bag or something. I always have like one of my little backpacks that's like horror themed, but it's small. So the first thing that we ended up really buying was from the Scream Queen Club. Sorry, and we got a little tote with Art the Clown on it because we wanted that to carry our goodies in, and um, so that was really cool. Squaredy Cats was also a cool vendor. They had some really unique artwork and like little plushies that you could get where they're like cat themed, but they were that square like Minecraft, I guess you could say, kind of that style of artwork. And then I know you got some really cool candles from a vendor. What candles did you pick up?
Oh, they were Cheech and Chong candles.
Wait, Cheech and Chong, like the smokers,
Cheech and Chong from like early smoking
up in
culture.
smoke.
Yeah.
And what was so significant about these candles that made you buy Cheech and Chong candles? Because you don't really, I mean, we don't smoke. Not that we're
Well,
hating on
it's
that.
kind of sacrilegious because it's you know they look like they're posing in a Jesus pose, so probably not good.
Well, we're controversial on here. What can we say? And we got those from El Diosa Tiendas, and the
Wait, say that again.
yeah, don't make fun of my poor accent, okay? El Diosa Tiendas. There we go. I have to think through it. um, in fact, the lady the girl who was vending there, I forgot to catch her name. She looked really cool. I'm gonna make sure I throw her on the social media as well. And then you got these really cool, like little knit pumpkins as well, right?
Yeah, they're handmade, embroidered. Embroidered? No, what is this?
Crocheted, I think.
Crocheted. There you go. Sorry to all the crocheters out there.
He mixes it up, embroidering, sewing, crocheting. He teases me when I do certain things. He's like, "Are you crocheting?" And I don't even know how to crochet.
I know what sewing is.
Well, you tease me and call it all the same. So let's talk about some things that were kind of notable. First off, it was pretty nice inside. We're having, I'm sure, throughout the whole country, we're having really hot temperatures. And even though this was late September, and I would think it was the first day of fall, it's so hot outside still. But inside, that air conditioner was working. Because I hate to dog out Midsummer Scream on this one, but man, it was hot inside that convention. I mean, I think the air was on, but it just couldn't keep up, or what was going on. But uh, the Ontario Convention Center, the air was going, so that was nice. Some of the celebrities, there was a lot, just like in the past for being a con that is is not as big as some of the other ones. There's Julia Lewis, Tom Atkins, Dee Wallace, Henry Thomas, Nick Castle, Ron Perlman, Hellboy, and some of the actors from the TV show Mayans. I think J.D. Pardo, Michael Irby, and Billy D. Williams. But we missed him every time we came around. He wasn't at his table, so I'm kind of disappointed. That was one I wanted to spring money
I
for.
wanted to get my Colt 45 bottle of beer signed. Who was the guy from the Mayans that all the girls were fiending over?
It's J.D. Pardo. He's from. I know you didn't watch the show. I watched the show. He's became like the president in the. He was also in Twilight. I think in the very last movie,
He became the president.
he became the president of the motorcycle club. And yes, he's a very handsome man. So even I was kind of looking at him, but I didn't get a picture with him. Me and Paul noticed when we were there that it seemed like most of the people were there to either see the Terrifier cast or actually see David Howard Thornton because
Well, who from Terrifier? There was like everyone there, right? The director.
yeah, the director, the girl, the brother and sister. Oh my gosh, I can't remember their names off the top of my head. The brother and the sister, and the guy, of course, and the man who plays Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton. His line was really long. The girl's line was really long as well. So a lot of people were repping their Art the Clown gear. So I felt like I don't know what percentage do you think was actually there for Terrifier based on how many people we saw on T-shirts and wearing their gear and people we chatted with throughout the day.
There was a majority of the people, I would say. I mean, we had our Terrifier gear on, and probably every other person had one on. So I would say like 60%, maybe 70% of the people.
Wow. And there was a few cosplayers that were there dressed up as Art. But yeah, so we did a photo op we did the post photo op, which I won't lie to you guys. It kind of sucks because when you do those photo ops, it's such a quick thing and it's an expensive photo op, but he doesn't put on the David Howard Thornton doesn't put on the makeup for every con, and he only did it on Saturday, and it was only for like a few hours. You could He was there Friday and Sunday and Saturday, and you could get in his line and get his autograph, but he wasn't in makeup, so we did take that opportunity. So it was really cool. We have his photo now, and we have that up on our social media. We'll also put that in the blog. I'm hoping we could catch him at another con and actually bring the picture, and we'll have to get in line and get him to sign it.
Yeah, it was crazy how large the line was for his photo. I mean, it was multiple groups and completely full. So, I mean, probably a couple thousand people to take photos with him. So that's good. That's a good turnout.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it was only like three groups, but I mean, our group, I don't even know how big the room was, but I mean, we were crammed in there. And I mean, like I said, you literally walk up, they take your picture, and you walk right out. It's not very personable, but I guess that's kind of the way to do it if there's a lot of people that want to get that photo op. And another thing we noticed that the crowd kind of seemed smaller this time around. I mean, it was smaller. Of course, it's smaller than when you go to like Monster Palooza or you go to Midsummer, but it seemed a little smaller in terms of attendance. Not to say that it was low attendance, but the attendance seemed a little smaller this time. And we were kind of talking, and we think maybe that has to do with it's just we're kind of into the spooky season. You also have Comic Con LA coming up. There was the horror convention in LA. There's Son of Monster Palooza's coming up, and all the spooky season stuff. Not Scary Farm, Universal Horror Nights. So I'm thinking that's part of why the crowd didn't seem as big, but it was still a great crowd nonetheless.
Yeah, it was nice though because I think Midsummer Scream, I felt so claustrophobic with so many people around, and this one was a lot nicer. You can walk and not bump into people all the time.
Yeah, and from what I understand, I've never gone to a Friday for a convention, but I was chatting with shout out to my friend Brianna, um, and she was telling me she did for the first time she did a convention on a Friday. I think she did Midsummer, and she was telling me how it's like a lot less crowded and it's easier to walk through. So that's something to keep in mind in terms of like your level of comfort. If you don't want to deal with this big of a crowd, you might want to go to a Friday if the convention offers it. And if you get overwhelmed by bigger crowds, one of the CreepIE events might be something that's better suited for you. And if you're going to these conventions because you're not from California and you want to be able to come and do all the stereotypical fun stuff in like the LA SoCal area, you're still not that far. It's only about a 45-minute to hour and a half, depending on traffic drive to get into LA and check out some of those stuff. So something to keep in mind because I know a lot of people are not always local that they like to go out of town to check out different conventions. The pricing's not bad either at this one.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Now, I enjoyed the food trucks that were there. There was a lot more food trucks available this time. The one that we went to in February, was that in
Yeah, in
February?
February, the first one.
Creep
Yeah.
Icon. It was raining, so it was kind of hard being outside. But this one, they had like 4 or 5 food trucks that had really good food. We went and had some food. Unfortunately, we had to like scarf down our food because we were having to get in line to go take a photo. They had food there. They had lemonade stands. I think they had ice cream. Then there was a couple of performances by really good bands.
Yeah, so that was different this year. They had the after party. They didn't have that in the past, which other conventions have after parties usually. CreepIE Con never had one of these, so they had the on only on the Saturday night, and that was included with your ticket, which I think our tickets were like $40. We got them early. We did the early ghoul savings, so keep that in mind as well for conventions. If you follow different convention social media, you can kind of see if you buy your tickets earlier, you usually get the best pricing, or sometimes they'll have like random sales where they don't charge you fees or anything. So I think we only paid like $40 each. But there was two bands, Nightmare on 80th Street and the Red Hot Cholo Peppers also performed.
Yeah, that Nightmare on 80th Street, I really liked them. They were, it was all 80s music, but they had a screen in the background and had clips of different movies, 80s movies, of course, playing. And the music was kind of geared towards that. And all of the band members were dressed as different killers from various movies. We had a Freddy Krueger, who was the lead vocal. I think Michael Myers and Jason were on guitar, and who was on the keyboard?
Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. That's right.
And then I don't remember what was the drummer. We'll have to make sure we also look them up too, but the lead singer, I don't know if I think you caught this. He had an affinity for a lot of English music, right?
Yeah, he did a lot of Bowie music. Very good too.
Yeah, his vocals were really good. So that was a really cool like thing to experience. After the convention, after your day of walking around and doing everything, some people were dancing. I mean, it was like a dance party for some. For us, we were just kind of chilling. They had more bars here too, or options for places to buy alcohol. Last year I think they only had like one spot, or last February. So that was really cool too. We kind of had us a cocktail and we just relaxed and listened to some good 80s music. Oh, it
Yeah, it
was
was
Hannibal
cool.
Lecter. I just remembered the drummer was
Hannibal
Hannibal Lecter.
Lecter.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it was cool to just kind of hang out and see the different people, the different cosplayers that were around there. Was there? We ran into a couple of, I guess, notable cosplayers, and you got to talk to them. Who were they?
Well, I didn't get to talk to him because he doesn't talk, but he's one that I see around. Halloween Town Jack. He's dressed up like Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas. He's real tall and he's really big on social media. I think I've again any of the vendors and any of the cosplayers we talked about, most of their pictures are up on our social media, including other ones that we didn't even get to name because there's so many that we interacted with. Also met this guy named Chosen Alpha 777. He's got a big social media presence, and he was really cool because he was dressed up as Art the Clown, and he was a mashup.
Yeah, he kind of dressed up as Captain America and Art the Clown, but he had a couple of other Art the Clowns with them, and they had a pretty cool group. I saw their picture with David Howard Thornton.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty large group.
Yeah, they also posted they did the photo op, and then throughout the day, I mean, on his social media, again, I'll throw it up there. He has a bunch of videos where he's with like different cosplayers from the area, and they have some really cool like TikTok videos and stuff. So it's really cool. It's really cool to always chat with everybody and get to know some of them. They kind of stay in character, so they don't really talk. But
And then your homie.
oh yeah, my favorite that I always run into, of course, SoCal Leatherface. Seems like a really down to earth guy, and we always run into him at the convention. Sometimes he's there in more of a hired performing aspect. This time he looked like he was just kind of walking around and doing photo ops. I really like him though because he even like when he's talking, he interacts with the little kids. He's very friendly, even though he's dressed up as this scary character. He realizes that some people are there that might be scared. So, which we also is another thing I just thought about. There was a lot of kids this year, huh? compared to any conventions we've
Yeah,
gone
yeah,
to.
there's quite a bit of kids around. Even like infants. That's all the parents pulling them, carrying them in little carriers. But yeah, there was quite a bit of kids.
Yeah, there was a couple with their little baby in the stroller, and they wanted to get his. They made sure to get his photo with Terrifier with Art the Clown. That's great.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been able to bring our kid. He's crazy.
Yeah, our toddler. Yeah, or in the crazy toddler phase. So he stayed home. He stayed with grandma. So yeah, so that was really cool. This so many editions. I really feel like they stepped their game up. Um, from the last time that we attended their convention with adding more seating, adding the after party, the wrestling, more food, more drink options. So very, very impressed with those changes, and hopefully they just continue to improve. From all the things that I've read about them, that's their goal, is to just keep on improving, and they want to be able to compete with the likes of the bigger conventions that are out there.
So when is the next one that's gonna happen?
So their next convention, they already announced it. It's going to be January 31st through February 2nd of next year, 2025. And they're also the same company is also producing another convention. They're calling it a nostalgic fan convention, and it's titled Retro Palm Springs, and that's going to be on Cinco de Mayo weekend of 2025. I believe at the Palm Springs Convention Center. So if you're not just into horror, if you're into other nerdy nostalgic stuff, if you're a fan of those sort of things, you might want to check that one out as well.
It's like right after my industry convention.
Yeah, yeah. So
I think it's like the week after.
that's using also, yeah, the other things that go on like Coachella and
Yeah, that's true.
Stagecoach.
Coachella and Stagecoach are going to be happening just before that too. It's going to be a busy weekend, a busy month in Palm Springs.
Yeah. Well, we really enjoyed attending this convention, and we hope to continue to attend. It's really great to come out and support a local convention. We look forward to also attending future conventions. And the best part about these is interacting with the different cosplayers, getting to know the vendors, and finding out what's coming up in the horror genre. And I really encourage you guys to go to our website, dreadfuldialogue.com, so that you can see the photos of these different cosplayers, because they put so much work into what they do. It's not something that I do, but I really appreciate the work that they put into them, and it gives them some traction and support as well. You can also see their pictures. They're on our Instagram at Dreadful Dialogue Podcast. I'm still posting things on there as we go, because I have so many pictures from our time there. So again, thanks for listening. We really enjoy having you guys on our journey as we continue making more episodes, and we hope you're enjoying our content. Until next time, have a good one.